Good day everybody, welcome to the channel Truck It Proud. So if you're joining me for the first time, today's video is going to be all about what it's like for a family moving to Australia. And as a family of 4, I'm going to tell you firsthand what our experience has been like. Now, moving halfway across the world is never easy. It's something that you're going to have to put everything into. You're going to have to be really serious about wanting to move, especially if you're going to move as far as Australia. As a family of 4, there's been a lot of things to adjust to. My children are quite young. They are 5-year-olds. I have twins. And yeah, it's been quite hard to adjust to things. Just even things like going to the shops and just finding things that you're used to. Now, there's so many things that you have to take into consideration when you're moving halfway across the world. And one of those things will be even things like going shopping, food shopping. Now, there's things here that I'd never seen before in the UK, obviously. And obviously that means that a lot of the things that you're used to in the UK, little things, you won't be able to get here. Now, moving to the other side of the world, your children are obviously going to miss all of their friends and family. It's never easy picking up your life and moving, whether that be just 5 minutes down the road or 2 hours up the road. But when you're moving to the other side of the world, there's so many things that you need to take into consideration. Like, for example, my children often ask about their grandparents and they want to talk to them, and it's very difficult, especially with the time zones. We're at the moment 7 hours ahead of the UK, which makes it very difficult for us to be able to just call our parents up. It's usually when they're waking up, we're sort of ending our day. So yeah, it's very difficult. Now, as a family living in Australia, you can expect to live a much more outdoorsy life. As you can see now, I am out walking in the woods with my dog. He's been a little bit annoying. He's a puppy, so he's allowed to be annoying, but it's still annoying nonetheless. So yeah, you'll find that here you'll just tend to have a more outdoorsy life, and whether that be through sports, because your children probably will get into sports at school, especially the culture here is very towards AFL, which is basically Australian football. Now, something that you want to know before you do move here is the fact that when you do move here, you will not be entitled to any kind of childcare allowance. So Australians that are working will get reimbursed money for childcare whilst they're working. But obviously, if you're not a citizen or permanent resident, then you will have to pay full price, which can usually be upwards of $100 an hour. That'd be nice, wouldn't it, for the childminders? No, but $100 plus per day per child. So for me, example, I have had to basically just do part-time work because my girls are not in full-time education just yet. Let me explain a little bit more about that. So in the UK, we have our children basically start school at basically 4 years old, and they're full-time straight away. Well, here in Australia, well, not in all of Australia, sorry, this varies from state to state, but here at the moment in WA, they have basically part-time school for children that are under 5. So my children do 3 days one week and 2 days the next week. Therefore, I am full-time daddy for the rest of the days, as we moved here on my partner's visa as a teacher. So yeah, it won't be until January when they are in full-time school and I'll be able to work full-time as well. And as much as I love spending time with my children, I must admit I cannot wait. Also, another thing to be mindful with the childcare is the lack of childcare out here. So there's quite a high probability in some areas that you'll be on some sort of waiting list for childcare if you do need it. Sorry, getting tangled up with the dog. So yeah, if you do need childcare, it's not the easiest to come by. It's something that you will have to wait for, sort of, yeah, be on a waiting list in some areas. I'm not saying everywhere, obviously all places differ, but where I am, even it being rural, there's a waiting list basically for childcare. So yeah, I don't know if I said that enough, but there's a waiting list for childcare. One thing I will say about the outdoorsy life is that your children will, I don't know, maybe this is just how I want to perceive it, but I really do feel like they seem happier. They're always out doing stuff, whether that's running through the bush or down at the beach, running down the sand dunes, splashing their feet in the water at the sea. It's just, yeah, it just feels so much more relaxed, and they just seem to be happy out. Now, a very important thing that you're going to want to know is what does it cost for a family of 4 to live in Australia? Well, let me tell you this, nowhere near as much as the UK. Now, when you take in things like food, that can seem a little bit more expensive. But when you kind of translate it over, it's almost like for most things. Don't get me wrong, there are certain things that you will pay more for, which I've covered in some other videos, like grapes at certain times of the year can be ridiculously expensive. Limes, for some reason, even though they grow in most people's gardens here, seem to be really expensive at certain times of the year. But generally, most things are like for like, if not a bit cheaper. It just depends. The things that you will save on here are things like petrol. Diesel will be half the price, literally half the price of what you pay in the UK. Bills, water bills, gas bills, electric bills, so much cheaper than the UK. We've had a couple of expensive bills this month for the electric, because we've had, basically in our house we have a reverse cycle aircon unit which we have to use for our heating. So yeah, that's been a little bit more expensive for basically 2 months. But when the weather starts to warm up a little bit more, we should be good, really. I mean, from the summer previous, we were pretty much paying nothing. Also, vehicles tend to be cheaper here. You tend to pay pretty much half the amount that you would back in the UK for most vehicles. Also, being a bit closer to places like Japan and China, you do get a lot of those cars really cheap. Some of the Japanese cars are pretty good, obviously, like Toyota, and some of the Chinese ones, well, they're getting better, so let's just go with that. What does it cost to eat out for a family of 4, for example? So obviously this will vary on what kind of establishment you go to. If you're looking at somewhere like McDonald's, sorry, bumped into another dog walker there, had a little chat. So yeah, eating out for a family of 4, you're probably going to be looking at, say, like somewhere like your fast food chains, depending obviously on what your children are like. I'll just go with like an average. You're probably looking about 65 bucks for basically all 4 of you to eat a decent sized meal. So 65 bucks, just half that, and that's the English equivalent, so pretty much the same as the UK, I would imagine. So another example quickly I'll give you is basically we went to Perth and we ate at a Chinese restaurant, and there was 4 adults, 2 children, and it came to 280 bucks. Yet again, just cut that in half, it's about 140 pounds, and that was for 4 adults, 2 children, and we wasn't scrimping on the dishes, and we had pretty much all the drinks that we wanted. So yeah, it sort of averages out similar to the UK. I would say there's not much difference when it comes to eating out. There will be little things that will surprise you as well that we don't have in the UK. For example, now having a dog, I didn't realise that you have to register your dog with the Shire, which is something in the UK you don't have to do unless it's basically a breed that is aggressive, like a pit bull or something like that. But yeah, here they do like you to register it with the Shire and have it chipped and vaccinated and all that good stuff. Boy, good boy. How much a thing's going to cost you when you go for a day out. Let's kind of give you an example here. So there's a place not too far from us, did a video on it, called Bunbury, and there's a place that basically has dolphin centre where you can go out on a boat and basically go swim with the dolphins, and for a family of 4 that was $200, so £100 to go out and swim with dolphins in the wild. I thought that was a pretty reasonable price, to be fair. I haven't done the actual tour yet of swimming with the dolphins, but I'm hoping that is something that we will get to do this summer, and hopefully I'll be able to take you guys along for the ride. Right guys, I hope some of that information was very helpful. I will do another video similar to this. I'm gonna just crack on with the walk right now because one of us is going to end up tripping over and headbutting a tree in a minute. He's all around my ankles. But yeah, no, thank you for watching guys. If you have liked the video, then give us a little like, it doesn't cost anything. And yeah, subscribe, all that good stuff. And don't forget the hype. There's a new thing called hype. It really helps the video out if you can just give us a little hype. Small creators like me, it really pushes the video out to more people. So yeah, thank you very much, and hopefully I'll see you on the next one. Bye bye.
Place department.